Welcome to Simmons Says, where I help emerging and struggling writers create intriguing plots and compelling characters to make their stories hard to put down and even harder to forget.
To think like a detective, think like a crook, then write the crime.
In a murder mystery, blood isn't the only thing that's red. Try and look at it this way. The list of suspects is growing. Ego-driven corporate executives, greedy family members, rival mob bosses, jilted lovers, the list goes on. And you're still looking for motive and means, but you found or set up one or two possible clues. So, if you logically ask a few more questions and put the clues in the right order, the case will be solved, right? Then that one thing happens that sends you down a completely different path, and the clock is ticking. And if you're now on the wrong path, the thief, blackmailer, murderer will get away. Writers, you know what I'm talking about. What's that thing that pops up? It's called a red herring. And no, I don't mean the red fish, so get that out of your head. What I'm thinking about is when you have a whole story, a mystery story mapped out, you know who did it and who it was done to and how it was done and why it was done, all of that. You have that locked in, but the story still feels linear. You're worried that your reader, or if it's a screenplay, your viewers are going to watch this and they're going to figure it all out somehow. Even with your suspects lined up, you're still thinking, no, it's too easy. Somehow they're going to get it by this point and they're going to be rolling with it, and the punch is gone. And what you really want them to be doing is bumping in the walls, stumbling in the dark, tripping over clues that were meaningless. You want to distract them. You need some sort of sleight of hand, the thing that we call a red herring. Now, a red herring is definitely what magicians might refer to as a sleight of hand. Let me give you an example. In the movie Psycho, Hitchcock's film, right? Uh, that's a story level kind of red herring, because initially we start out thinking that this movie is going to be about stolen money and will the thief get away with it, and that's the way we're set up. And she steals and she's off and she's getting out of the city and it looks like it's going to work for her maybe. And then just a few more scenes down the line, we suddenly realize we're not in a heist film or a robbery film. We're in some sort of horror mystery story. The story takes a complete shift. We were led down one direction, and suddenly we're going in the opposite direction or in a totally different path. We didn't see it coming. Okay. Murder on the Orient Express. All right. There's a physical clue or a red herring that's used there. When the murder takes place at night on the train and everything, someone is seen leaving the area of the murder, the scene of the crime, wearing a bright red kimono, with a scarlet red kimono with ornate designs on it. It's very eye catching, but they're gone in an instant. And so a large part of the mystery is who was wearing that. It might have been a woman, could have been a guy in disguise, but we're thinking it's a woman, right? But that's the person we're looking for. That red kimono. If we can find that kimono, we're going to be closer to finding who the killer is. And that's what even our detective in the film, on the story, seems to believe for a period of time. Certainly is what the audience is thinking. It's a major clue. So we got a physical clue in Murder on the Orient Express, and we have a red herring, a story clue, a distraction in Psycho. One more Agatha Christie piece. No, she didn't write Psycho. Okay. But she did write Murder on the Orient Express. But in And Then There Were None, which some of you may know as 10 Little Indians, right? This one's tricky. This one is a character red herring. Now you might say, "Oh, the kimono." No, the kimono was the thing. So it's a prop. It's a wardrobe piece, right? It's not the person in it. It's that eye-catching item, right? So that's for murder. But And Then There Were None, the character red herring is when there, if you don't know the story, it was written like I think in the 1920s. Movies were done in the 1940s, and there've been all kinds of versions of it done since. So if you haven't seen it, and you don't know the ending. Sorry, big spoiler alert here. There's several people who are invited to this island, ostensibly to be murdered, one at a time. Right? They don't know this, but hey, too late to leave now, right? And when one of them, Judge Wargraves, gets murdered, we're thinking, whoa, they've whittled down so many of the characters, so many people have died, and now he's dead. Wow, that's one more out of the way, and we're left with just these 3 or 4 people left. My goodness. Yeah. And so our minds are now focused over here. But what we didn't know is the judge's death was a trick so that the murderer could do something completely surprising, startling, and throw our heroes off guard completely. So you have an item that can be a red herring, you have a character that can be a red herring, right? And you have a story direction that could be a red herring, right? But either way, it's meant to distract. It is the thing that within the story distracts your detective or distracts your audience from the goal. It is definitely like a magician succeeds in using misdirection to keep the audience looking in one place while the real work is being done somewhere else. Mystery writers need to accomplish the same thing with carefully designed red herrings, whichever one style you want to use in your story. Whatever one it is, use it wisely. And when you place them just right, you come up with a twist in the ending that hits the audience between the eyes. And what you'll have is a bunch of people going, oh, geez, I should have known. I really don't. Yeah, which is great because that's what you want. So clues, suspects, red herrings. Use them wisely. That'll help your story be 100% better. Okay, that's it for today in my efforts to help you find out what happens next in your story, and in this case, your mystery story. So be with us next time for Simmons Says. See you soon. Having trouble writing your mystery story? Check out one of my bonus apps for free. It will not write the story for you, but it will help you figure out some of the twists and turns you want for your story. Just click on the link below.